This is our Ford GT that we're bringing to the 2025 SEMA show with the WD-40 brand. But we took a massive risk because we don't even know if this chassis is repairable. Today, we're gonna find out. Step one, we're gonna take this car over to Torrey Pines Collision to see if we can get this frame straightened back to its original factory specs to begin the build.
Apparently this is going to Torrey Pines Collision to get the frame straight. So we're gonna push this thing out.
This is the machine that measures the chassis and will tell Patrick and the guys here at Torrey Pines Collision how bent this thing actually is and how to pull it straight. He's got all the parameters, sort of started looking all that stuff up already. Really neat system.
It's really cool. It's gonna be mad that we're putting this on it, but it's a really cool piece of equipment. Unfortunately, we have a huge problem. Just got off the phone with Patrick, the owner of Torrey Pines Collision, and he basically let me know that the chassis that we just bought is completely unusable and not repairable. If we did attempt to repair it, it would require such intensive repairs. You can see the crumpling on the chassis itself, that this car may never be safe to drive on the road, and that is one of our major goals for this project, is to keep this thing a road-going car. Now, thankfully, we do have a lot of good components that came with the car: the engine, the transmission, the interior, and a lot of suspension and lighting components are good. But now we have to find another Ford GT, and that is going to be very expensive and pushing us very over budget with this project. Let's get this thing back to the shop. Let's strip everything down and see what we can salvage off of our Ford GT. Not the news we were looking for, but we are going to deal with it and move forward.
Now it's time to get this Ford GT stripped down to a bare chassis. Let's do it. To get this job done right, we've grabbed some WD-40 brand Specialist Penetrant, which we're gonna use on the rusted and corroded bolts and nuts on this chassis because it's been sitting for many years after the accident. And so we're gonna go ahead and spray this on our bolts and get these things off. First bolt out. We got a lot more to do. Boom, 2 more. Next up, let's get this interior stripped.
Now there's actually no doors on the vehicle, we can actually get started to work on the interior and strip everything inside of it. Let's get it done. We have the bottom half of the dash out, but in order for us to get the rest of it off, we have to do a lot of work in this area, kind of like the heater core and the AC compressor line. So we may even have to drop off the fuel tank, so we have a lot of work to do. All that fighting just to get this off. This will allow us to go back into the inside of the car and try to get the dash out once and for all.
Not supposed to be there.
No, it's not good. Ricky's gonna grab a pair of clean gloves because there is some feces in there and you don't want to be touching that. And hopefully there's no chewed up wires.
Yo, Quinn, check this out.
Look what we just found. The gift that keeps on giving.
What'd you found?
What did you found? Is that a rat's nest?
Extra sound deadening.
Oh, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
Especially if it's on the body control module.
Yeah.
This project just keeps getting better, brother.
Dude,
It's all the way in there.
The good thing is that it's like past this part of the plug, so there's plenty of space for me to be able to rewire it, like cut it, strip it, solder it, and put it back together. So it's not so much bad news. We can still fix it.
We knew this was an assembly line car, and so for assembly line production, they basically lift these in with a big crane or robot, and it puts it in, and an assembly guy just puts the bolts in to hold it, which are probably those two that were outside the car. They probably undid a little bit more than we needed to get this out, but at the same time, it's out, and we can reassemble stuff on the floor. It's way easier than laying on our backs in there, so it's good. And now we can put this in as a unit into the new chassis, which is nice.
All right, now that we have the seatbelts out, we are actually making pretty good progress. We got the mirrors, some of the harness done, the latches right here. And I think that's pretty much it, other than pushing the harness into the front area. And we should be done with the interior. We have made a ton of progress. As you can see, everything back here is almost gone. We just got a few panels to remove, a few random hoses, the fuel tank, and then we can continue to work in the front area. Yeah, baby. One more to get out, and then we'll be able to continue to the center and get the fuel tank out. Bro, I'm telling you, this thing actually works. It works really good. Yeah, this is it, baby. The last piece of the engine compartment area. Backside is all done. Now let's start doing the front.
All right, we just pulled out this harness. Took two of us, Ricky and I both, to feed it through the frame rail because it literally goes through the frame rail. And this is a charge harness. So essentially the battery's in the front of the car, but the alternator and the starter need to get power. There's a few other items in here as well. They're part of the loom. It goes through the frame rail all the way to the back. We got it out now. Man, it's gonna be really hard to put this back in the new chassis.
I've never seen a gas tank that looks like that in my life. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's wild.
She's off to her new home in exchange for our new chassis. All right, I arrived here at the shop today after Ricky and I got the GT stripped down, and James from Beck's Auto Glass is already here getting busy because we need him to pull the glass out of this thing. Now he's telling us that this is a tough one to take out without breaking, so he's gonna do his best to get it out. It's always a risk whenever you remove a piece of glass that it could possibly break. All right, well, unfortunately, the glass cracked on removal, and we knew this was potentially the case. And why, James?
On these cars, they're a built race car. Super tight tolerances everywhere. So it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you see on camera, but a good thick tolerance here. And right here in the middle, there's almost, you can barely maybe stick a piece of paper. Yeah. So unfortunately, the curvature of the glass and the pressure right there, it just started a spider crack on us as soon as we started to pull it out. Unfortunately, it broke, but this is always something that is a possibility.
Yeah, and it's fine. These glasses are not easy to come by, unfortunately. We're going to be looking for one, so if you guys know where there's a GT glass laying around, let us know. Back glass is out in one piece.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a tough one, man. They really had that thing glued in and sealed, I think probably for fumes and whatnot, because this is the engine bay in the back. Good job getting it out, dude.
Oh, thank you, brother.
In one piece.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a few weeks to put the glass back in, eh?
Yeah, I can't wait to see it when it comes back and get ready to go.
You and me both. We're going to address the front of the Ford GT today. We got it all on the lift here. But we've got our old crash front beam. And in order to start putting our new body parts on this car, this beam has to be straight. There's a lot wrong with it. This corner is completely crushed in. We're buckled here, back here. So this thing is not gonna be straight if we bolt it back on. So because this part is no longer available and obsolete, our only option is potentially buy a used one, which they cost around $10,000, or repair the one we got. And since we're building a hot rod here, we're gonna go ahead and try to fix it. So Greg and I are gonna get after it, see what we can do to make this thing straight again so we can start putting some fenders on this thing when they arrive.
All right, now that Mickey did all of the hard work, I am hired here just to weld this back together. So I've got our Lincoln Electric 225 precision TIG set up on AC current. We've got our argon gas to about 23, 25, and we are ready to weld. So it's been a little while. I might be a little bit rusty, but I think with a little bit of luck and a little persistence, we'll get this all welded back up, and then we'll clean it up, maybe get it painted up so you really can't even tell at all. So this shouldn't be too difficult, so let's get it started. All right, so for now, this is going to be all that I'm going to do. Now it's all welded up. Mickey can cut some things and grind some things, make everything smooth, and then we'll take this thing off and I'll bring it over to the full bench so I can get all the way around. But it turned out pretty good. It's actually welding really nice. Mickey did a nice job cleaning everything up and the gaps aren't too big. So this whole front section should be repaired. So that saved us about $10,000.
All right, we made up a couple of end caps. Go on here. Evan's gonna weld those on for us, but in order to do that, we gotta get this off the front of the car, get it over on the workbench for him so he can get around all the tight areas. It's gonna be perfect for what we need it to do.
Front crash bar or bumper bar is done. I got everything welded up. It looks pretty nice. Everything turned out pretty good. I think you did a nice job fabbing the caps. You can see it welded really good here. This machine is such a beast. I'm so thankful for having this machine in the shop. Now that that's done, let's move on to the next project.
Our GT specialist friend just drove 3,000 miles from Minnesota to drop off a stripped chassis for us to swap out our chassis that has a bend in it that's not repairable for this. So basically, apple for apples, except for this one doesn't have any bends in it, which is great. And man, it looks awesome. What I'm told is this was actually a really rare chassis too. This was a tungsten colored no stripe car. The no stripe cars are super rare. Previous owner had painted stripes on this one, but it doesn't matter because we're painting the whole thing anyway. Time to make the swap. Let's get this GT off the trailer and into our shop so we can get to work. This car weighs 470 pounds in this state.
It's here. It's finally here.
That's not it.
That's not it. That's it. What is this on the ground? Are these things that light with nothing in it? How much do these things weigh?
Literally all four
Dude.
just picked it up and then dropped it here.
That's crazy. Ooh, the nice gray. It's not staying that color, but like GTs in this color are so sick. Look at this. This is the critical bit right here. She's dialed, brother. Dialed. Now we got a GT. Now we got a car we can start actually putting together.
Today's the day I've been waiting for. It's been weeks, but our Doran GT2 full carbon composite, dry carbon composite aero kit has arrived.
Whoa. Yeah, dude. Just pick it up, dude.
Just pick it up.
You got the thumbs,
easy.
bro. I believe in you.
Bro, they cost a 2x4 is so ridiculous. This is probably like a $7,000 crate.
Fortunately, it looks like maybe something got stacked on top of it, so the lid is kind of damaged. We're hoping that nothing inside is damaged. They did a really nice job packaging it. We're gonna pop the lid off and start pulling stuff out, and we're gonna cross our fingers that nothing's damaged because it's really expensive stuff inside here.
And Everything looks like it's in one piece.
Yeah, it looks okay. Just look at the work, man. The work quality is insane. This gonna look so good.
Man, look at this.
Bro, this is so sick. This is the hood, right?
Yeah, that's the hood.
Bro.
That's the hood,
Oh my
right?
God.
Wow. Got it. This way's nothing.
Alright, we're gonna twist.
God, this is
Particles falling.
sick.
Be careful. Watch your eyes. This is my favorite carbon.
That is so cool.
You want to see wild?
Oh, that's
There's the underside of the car.
holy crap.
Rear bumper. Oh, bro.
Dude, this doesn't even look like real. Like this doesn't look like an actual like bumper.
Very cool.
Best piece right
It
here.
just gets better.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I think this is the coolest package we've ever received
I
here.
think
at
so,
Throtl.
yeah. I think the GT is one of the best looking cars ever, and seeing literally everything in carbon is like next level.
It's got some weight to it.
Should be able to stand up.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I just don't have a great place to put it. The amount of
many
carbon
pieces,
here
yeah.
is crazy.
There's so many pieces to this kit.
That was insane. Never seen anything like it.
This is insane. This is the coolest thing ever that's coming in.
Now that we've got our body kit unpackaged from the shipping container, we laid it out on the floor in here so you guys can see what we're working with. This is our Doran GT2 Ford GT carbon fiber body kit. Starting up front, we've got, obviously, full dry carbon front bumper, front lip, splitter, which this thing is insane. Super buff. This stuff's meant for racing. So a lot of times there's little collisions and corner incidents and things like that. So stuff that sticks out from the car is going to be really robust. This front lip is no joke. It's super thick. It's actually the heaviest part of the kit, and it's made out of 12K as well, so that means it's structurally sound, which is awesome. Let's move around to the side. We've got full dry carbon fenders with the headlight tubs built in, which is really cool. Again, full on race stuff here. Look how wide these are. This is insane to me. Typically a Ford GT, a street going Ford GT would have an actual light that bolts into the front of the car, and then you have a fender that surrounds the light bucket or the light housing. For racing purposes, they literally just put this into the shape of the fender, and you've got essentially what amounts to some flat surfaces to mount your own lights into here. And then this kit comes with a clear plexi or perspex lens, which goes over this once you place all your lights and get all the wiring done. We've got something really special planned for this, so you guys will have to stay tuned for that in an upcoming video, but we are going to be 3D scanning this and creating our own road going light for this car, which should be pretty cool and allow us to flex some creativity. Going across the front to the other side, we've got the front of the hood, which is this big, nice, beautiful piece with the seam down the center here. That's gonna basically connect between the headlights of the front end, and we're gonna have basically a U-shaped nose cone once all that's bolted together. Behind that, we have the vented hood. Now, this hood doesn't look much different from the factory hood. Factory hood also had these big inlets to allow the air to come through the front nose, through the radiators and the cooling stack, and out the hood, and create a heap of downforce on the front of the car. Another piece that's really cool about this is it actually came with mounts for this, and they look like little top hats or cowboy hats. Those mount on our tub or our chassis, and then our arrow catch hood pins mount on those, which locates this hood. Moving around underneath the car, as I mentioned previously, the front end has a nice thick, robust splitter. The bottom does as well. So underneath this car is completely flat. Now, these tubs already came pretty flat from Ford, but this Doran kit actually encapsulates the tub, and it's gonna allow for the whole bottom of the car to be flat. It's gonna allow the air to flow freely and smoothly underneath the car and out the back over our rear diffuser, creating downforce. And also what's cool is this is very structural as well. So this is 12K carbon on this as well. Only around the edges does it have the beauty sort of normal 2x2 twill carbon. Not only is this going to help aerodynamics, it also helps structurize the tub of the car. And one of the really big visual improvements on the Ford GT utilizing a Doran GT2 body kit are these massive side skirts. They're so tall, it actually elongates the side of the car and gets the car lower to the ground for better aerodynamics. And obviously this is a racing purpose thing, but man, as a street car, it looks really rad. They also have a bottom cap that goes underneath the side skirt, and this will actually bolt onto the bottom of the side skirt. And this is meant so that, you know, if you're racing and you get some damage, these can be replaced quite easily. We've got these little, I call them hockey sticks because they're kind of got a hockey stick shape to them, but you guys can see the additional width that's been built into this body kit, these flared sections here. Man, I can't wait to start putting this thing together. On top of this hockey stick, I call it, we've got, this goes here on the side of the car, and then this is the factory air inlet. So essentially that's gonna sit in there. And this bolts directly to our chassis, and this area right here will get cut out. Air will go in here, come through here, and you can see the hole on the chassis there where the air will enter into the engine bay area and create some airflow to keep things cool back there. We've got the rear nose cone, which is pretty amazing. This is really what's gonna give you an idea of how the back of the car is gonna look. You can see this additional width here. The normal body was here. All this has been added by the team at Doran to give the car a more bulky stance, create aero, allow for a bigger tire under the car, and also keep debris from coming off the rear tires onto the competitors. So pretty neat piece. Everything is carbon, even our back bumper is carbon. Like, this is insane. Who has this? Underneath the car, we've got, to continue the flat panel bottom, we've got a rear diffuser, and this hangs underneath the engine area in the back of the car. This is gonna help get that air out from underneath the car in a tidy fashion and create some downforce for the back tires as well. Probably my favorite piece of the whole car is this engine cover. This thing weighs in at something like 7 pounds, I think. The only thing that's missing at the moment are 2 vents, one that goes here, one that goes here. Those come off the factory part, and then we're missing the glass. And so, being that this is a street car, we'll probably run the piece of glass that came off of our donor car. In a race situation, you'd run a piece of Perspex or Lexan, but I think we might go with glass just because it's gonna make it look more like a street car. You got the defroster lines and all that stuff. A lot of thought's been put into this, and we feel super fortunate that the team over at Doran was willing to trust us and put these molds back into action and make us something truly unique for our Ford GT project at the SEMA show this year. A special pallet just arrived, and this is something that every car guy needs in his garage. I'm so excited to get this unboxed and show you guys what's inside. The homies over at Tang Tools are going to be outfitting our new workshop. We're going to be working on some very special projects with a massive toolbox. This is a bottom roller box, top box down here, and the rest of these boxes are all tools to outfit it. It's going to take a while to set this up, but when it's all done, we're going to have every tool we need for the job. Got it all set up, got all the drawers stocked. The organizing system is amazing with these Tang Tools. Look at these sockets, everything laid out perfectly, and you just plop them in, and what's cool is these little aligners actually lock into place with each other. And like I said earlier, something's missing, you automatically know it's not there, so you can take a look around the shop and find it before it's gone forever, like those 10 millimeters. A huge thank you to Tang Tools for outfitting our new shop space with all these amazing tools. It's going to help us keep jamming on these projects. The WD-40 brand and throtl 2025 SEMA project is now back over where the entirety of this build is going to take place in our shop next door, which I'm super excited about because now that it's on the lift and our full Doran GT2 ALMS body kit has arrived, we can start fitting it on the car. And in order to do that, we need to start with the under trays. So before I get started fitting the carbon fiber under tray or floor pan, we have to address these giant Flintstone holes in the floor. So basically, this is the inside of the car. This is the outside of the car. And what we have is 2 aluminum preformed pieces that are made by Ford. So these are stamped aluminum panels. These ones are actually brand new from Ford, something that is nearly impossible to find nowadays, brand new in the packaging. So we were lucky to score these from our buddy Dan out of Michigan, who does a lot of these GT restorations. But essentially, as you can see here, they're stamped. They're made specifically for this chassis, and you can see all the holes here where they bolt in to the bottom of the car down here. Now is the time. I'm gonna get this cleaned up, and we're gonna get those floor pans riveted back in. Our factory Ford GT floor pans are now mounted and sealed, and now we can move on to the flat floor from Doran that's going to be mounted underneath it. Now that we have the thickness of the factory floor present, we can figure out how we're going to make the holes to mount this pan to the chassis. All right, I've got the final trim on the under tray. It's like as sharp as a samurai sword now right here. But I also went ahead and threaded in some bolts into the holes that we're gonna be using to mount this. And what I did was I put a little bit of red grease on the bottom of the bolts, and I ran bolts in every hole that we're going to drill in this panel. So what I'll do now is I'll sandwich the panel up against the bottom of the car, and what that'll do is leave witness marks where the grease is, where I need to drill the holes. Then I can pull the under tray back off of the car, put it on the stand over here, drill my holes, put the under tray back up, and I should have holes in the vicinity where they need to be in order to mount this thing for the final time before it goes off to paint and allow me to move on to the next section. So for now, I'm not gonna countersink anything. I'm just gonna drill pilot holes. We're gonna make sure and run like a hanger or a smaller bolt up through the hole, make sure that we've got it in the right location, which we should after we have our witness mark. It should be easy. That's the theory. Now let's get to it. All right, I got the Doran GT2 dry carbon floor pan installed.
Man, and I see one good looking splitter over there that we need to install because Mickey's been having all the fun and it's time for me to get involved in the build, so let's get it on.
Now that the splitter's on, we can locate the fascia mount, and then the fascia in front of this.
I have the fascia, apparently.
You do have the fascia.
Fascia time! Let's go.
So the next part is fitting the fenders, and there's gonna be a lot of work that needs to be done here to get these to fit properly, but we've got the fascia in place, which is gonna give us a starting point, and then we can work back towards the door jambs, and we're gonna use the factory gapping to get these things fitted up properly. These dry carbon fenders are absolutely gorgeous, but they did come with some extra flashing on the inside, and they leave this so that you can trim it to fit your particular vehicle. And I have some reference photos from Doran race cars which shows sort of the inner fender area, and they've got it trimmed back to about 1/4 inch here. So we're gonna do the same. I'm gonna put some yellow tape down on here. Ricky's gonna trim out this carbon fiber material, and then we can start fitting up this fender. All right, now that Ricky's got the flanges all trimmed up nice and cleaned up, we can actually start putting the fenders on.
I know.
Yeah, we're gonna start on the driver's side. These things require quite a bit of finagling, so we're gonna go ahead and get some heat guns out and start trying to form these things into shape so that we don't have to do as much cutting as what it looks like we're gonna have to do. The less cutting, the better. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing fitted up and see where we end.
So you might notice some blue painter's tape all over the Ford GT headlight buckets, and that's because my buddy Tyler is going to be designing and manufacturing a custom one-off set of Ford GT headlights for this project. I cannot be more excited. You guys will see that in an upcoming episode.
So we got it lined up back here at the door, but if you look up here, it doesn't line up at all. Look how far off we are here. So this needs to come to there, but then look where we are back here. I can fit my whole hand in here.
Let's bolt this, and then maybe we're gonna have to force it back and see what it does.
That's what you do. You start trimming and cutting and forcing.
Yeah. Wow, this project just got a little bit scary.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. If it were easy, everybody would do it. So.
Pattern number 2 coming right up. Now that we have both fenders on, you can see over here that we have a pretty big gap. And the same thing goes for this side, and we need to fix that.
The reason that door gap was so big is because our floor pan is actually shifted about an inch too far forward. So one of the easy places to see where it is too far forward is right here. So essentially the end of this floor pan should be sitting against this beam. I didn't know this, I've never built one of these before. And if you can look up in the tunnel up there where the fuel tank goes, you can see where those indents are in the floor. And those are aluminum inserts that have been basically built into the floor pan so that when you put bolts through, there's an aluminum piece in there that distributes the weight and carries the load. I centered those up to where the existing holes were on the chassis, and if you go up to the front, you'll also see where I was like, okay, well this makes sense because this flange rests right against the chassis, and you can't push this any far back because it's a decreasing radius. So I pushed the floor pan back as far as I could, got the bolts centered up through those aluminum tabs, and in my mind, that makes the most sense. Everything lined up, even the holes for this splitter on the other side lined up perfectly to the chassis holes. Money, we're good. So got on the phone with the guys over at Door and Race Cars. They told us, let's take a measurement. So they took a measurement off of here, the front crash beam to the nose, the tip of the nose, and their car is 4 inches from here to here. Our car is 5 exactly. So we're exactly an inch too far forward. So where can that be at? It's in the floor pan, which is what Ricky sort of supposed, but it doesn't make sense with this. I think we're gonna have to clearance the chassis. So I didn't know that either. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the floor pan off. We're gonna clearance the chassis here. We're gonna shift this back an inch, which is gonna move our splitter back an inch. It's gonna move this whole nose cone back an inch, and it's gonna solve our gap problem.
That's pretty accurate.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. Day 1, back again, baby.
The old reset button, baby. That's okay. This is a learning process. We've never done this. I've never done this.
When we do our second GT,
Yeah.
we'll know exactly what we're
These don't come
doing.
with instructions, unfortunately.
So much closer now.
My door gap's gone.
Yeah.
What?
Smash the out of his fingers.
Oh, the good one or the bad one?
They're now.
My bad, bro.
What was it on?
Did we close the gap?
Yeah,
or
we
the-
did. Yeah, I'm actually touching the door on this side. My fingers are still in there, but.
All right, so right now, the splitter and the fenders are exactly where they need to be, or at least we think, right?
The fenders are not exactly where they need to be. They're just literally placed on here for the moment. They are way closer than they have been this whole process because we now have the splitter in
place, right.
the right location versus what we thought was the right location. So it's allowed us to sort of get these back where they need to be. Now we can work on getting the floor pan bolted down, and that is not going to move now. Once the bolts are in that,
Finalized, yeah.
that's basically finalized, and we've got some hardware coming that will clean all that up and make it look beautiful and nice flush mounted. And then we can get back to the front fenders and getting those gap properly because now we're in the ballpark. We can actually get that finalized. Yeah, I think so.
Are you ready, Nate? I'm ready to go. See what happens. Hey!
I gotta loosen up.
Hey, 2 weeks! 2 weeks! This is crazy! The fenders are looking good. The gap is pretty much there. The next step is going to be the front part of the hood. This is a 2-piece hood. So this pretty much will look like this. As you can see, it's a small gap because this fender and this part, they're not tight. You can still move this. So we'll put this here, we'll close the gap, we'll tighten them up. That shouldn't move anymore. And then we'll make the markings, we'll drill some holes, and we'll be able to bolt it. And it's gonna start looking like a nice front end.
And once this is bolted in, then we can start working the front end down, the nose down and the lip up, because we know nothing's gonna move at that point. So
exactly.
This piece is integral, and then the last piece we'll tackle after that will be the hood. All right, the nose panel cannot be put on the car, so we pulled the front fenders back off. We're gonna place this in. This should bring the gaps together on the bottom of these fenders and allow us to start working on the back. I know there's still a ton of work to do, but starting to see the shape and what this thing's gonna look like is bonkers.
Yeah, I agree, man. It closed the gap in the front, if you guys can tell. It looks super sick. We have a second piece that goes right underneath it, and you'll be able to block the whole frame rail, so you won't see that no more. And it's gonna finish the whole front end, and then we'll do the hood. It's looking so good.
Whoa! What's up, guys? We got a car! This is like the best looking car ever. The GTs, the early 2000s GTs, they look so good. Damn, this thing looks freaking sick. Dude. Wow. Oh my God. Wow, this is freaking cool, man. Ooh, front end almost done. What a rad kit. What a rad kit. So freaking sick.
Yeah, once you throw this piece on it.
Flares.
Oh my God. Really brings
That fits so good too. This car is gonna look so sick. I don't even know if anybody here is ready for how good this thing's gonna look.
Today is a super awesome day because all of our rear wing mount and basically what becomes our rear fascia mount parts have arrived from the team over at Doran Race Cars out in Ohio. There's a lot of really cool parts here. These are the standoff mounts for our front splitter and our rear diffuser, wing mounts, all kinds of cool little chassis mounts that go onto the frame rails. This stuff all bolts together like a puzzle, and it's going to tie our wing element to our chassis, which also becomes a bunch of mounting provisions for other parts on the car as well. So this is super cool. It's basically a big puzzle with no instructions. So I'm kind of figuring out as I go, but I did stop over at our local hardware store and picked up the hardware to bolt these plates together. These are the wing mounts. These things are absolutely intense the way they're built and anodized, and they bolt together with SAE hardware, which we don't really use around here at our shop. We use mainly metric for everything. But I got to bolt this together. This will be the basis to getting the wing on the car, and then we can start mounting the rear fascia and then finalizing the clamshell that covers the engine. So I'm excited because the rear end of the car is really going to come around fast now. As mentioned, the last piece to this puzzle of a kit from Doran Race Cars is our wing element, which we can see here, the carbon element, which is massive. And then we have all of the pieces down here that all bolt together like a puzzle to make up our wing section and basically rear fascia mount. So as you can see on the rear fascia here, we've got these 4 rivet holes on the back. These are meant to be markers in the mold so that we can cut those out or drill those holes out. And they mount on the back of our wing upright, which means that that piece is going to stay on the car unless we need to take it off. And I'll have to drill out these back provisions here and tap them for bolts, but that's going to mount on our wing stand. So pretty neat piece. And so what I have to do is I've already marked and drilled pilot holes in this rear bumper beam so that we can mount this piece here. This piece has a bunch of holes and it's like Swiss cheese, and that's for rivets. What I have to do is drill 3 holes so that this recesses into the frame rail. And man, I can't even tell you guys how excited I am about this. These are parts that you don't just get. I'm so honored to be installing this Doran Race Cars kit on this Ford GT. First of all, the Ford GT is a car that not everybody gets to wrench on, so I'm fortunate there. But getting Doran to actually make this kit for us is super unique and super rare, and I'm honored to be the one that's getting to do this installation. So let's keep cracking. I'm gonna get this wing mount installed so that we can start getting the wing uprights on. All right, so I've got both of the mounts on now for the wing. This is how it looks once it's in place. Man, it turned out so nice. I love the black rivets on here. Each one of these holds 17 rivets, which is pretty crazy. This side turned out just as nice as the other side. I'm very happy. And now we can bolt on the uprights for this wing, which are super rad billet pieces. And these solve multiple problems. They're going to allow us to mount our rear fascia, and they're also going to serve as the tripod mount for the wing to make sure that it's chassis mount and super stable. I've already mounted our little P brackets on up here at the uprights. Now, one thing that I had to change was the race cars don't run this factory transmission support. So on the race cars, they don't have this extra material here, this width. This normally just gets bolted directly into the aluminum upright. And so what I've been able to do is actually take the left one and put it on the right and flip it upside down, and vice versa on the other side. So it puts this pickup right where we need it, even with this thickness, because it's meant to move it outboard. So now that we've moved the pickup outboard, we're moving this pickup inboard, which should offset itself. So we'll know here shortly if that's the case. I'm gonna go ahead and get these uprights bolted on, and we'll see how it lands. Now that the wing uprights are in place, I've got them temporarily just clamped here. I have to drill a hole once we get things level and aligned so that we can run a bolt through here. But for now, we want to be able to keep that adjustability. So we're going to keep those just clamped for now. The next move is to get this rear fascia clearance for the wings to pass through. So these wing uprights, in order to mount this on these back provisions here, we need to allow that fascia to drop down over top of these. So a little nerve-wracking, but I got to cut some holes in this fascia so they can slide down over those. Then we can start drilling some pilot holes to get this mounted on the back. And then we can start adjusting this, because there's a ton of adjustment in these rear beams and these uprights, and I only want to drill one hole, so I don't want to do this multiple times. So we're going to get it, we're leaving things kind of like tight but loose so that it can shift and move as needed, and then we'll take a level and get everything super level where we want it, and at that point we'll start to drill the holes and put through bolts through it so that it can't move any further once we're happy with the alignment. So it's time to drill some holes in some carbon fiber, baby. All right, so we need to address this rear bumper. We're missing the beam that goes here and here because it was destroyed in the accident when this car was in a collision. So what I've done is I've actually cut the bumper into effectively three sections. This is how it was from the crash. It was all mangled and bent. In this vicinity right here is actually snapped off. So I removed all of the plastic parts that bolt onto it, and we're gonna basically just remove this part out of the bumper, and I'm gonna make something to connect point A to point B over here. This is where our exhaust fits, and then we have the Doran Race Cars bumper cover that goes on with these tabs right here, just slides over this factory extruded aluminum piece, and we'll cut out this center section for our exhaust system when the time comes. But this is totally fixable, and I've got a solution. So I'm running off to the metal store, get some aluminum, and we'll get it welded back together. All right, our new refashioned bumper beam is all mocked up and tacked into place. This is it laying face down on the table. Evan's gonna burn a couple aluminum welds on here for me, and then I gotta do some adjustments there on the end because that thing is mangled and just breaking when I try to straighten it. So we've got a plan. We're gonna weld this up, and we'll get the carbon cover on to show you guys how it fits up. All right, well, it's a special day because our friends from HRA Wheels drove down from Vista, California to our shop to actually take measurements on our Ford GT chassis. This is a super exciting part of this. Evan and I both have history with HRA. We used to work there. That's actually where we met, which is pretty cool. And we have a long-standing relationship with the team there. So we get the house call, baby. So they're here. They're gonna get measurements off of what is the factory brake setup and suspension setup. And they're gonna tailor us a custom HRE forged wheel to fit over top of what will be our new Willwood brakes, but we're using these as templates. So very exciting day, and we're gonna come up with a really cool wheel and tire package for this thing. Seeing the team from HRE scan these wheel wells is so exciting because that means one thing: they are about to make the perfect set of wheels for this car. And having the scan data is so important because this car is very unique, and the only other cars like this that exist are actually race cars which are a race wheel package, which is quite different than what we're building with this car. This car is actually retaining all of the factory suspension components, whereas the race cars that typically run this kit are running a full rod end, Heim jointed, center lock hub system. You know, just finding something run of the mill to fit on this car, sure, it's probably possible, but having something custom spec to fit is super spicy, and we're super excited to have them on this car. All right, I've spent literal days fitting all of these dry carbon panels to the back of this car, but now it's time for final assembly before we take it over to the paint shop where it's gonna get its color and its clear coat, and then come back to us for final assembly.
Looks freaking gangster, dude. Look at that thing. Look at the wing. Look at the rear bumper. Look at the diffuser. Look at the back end over here. The shell looks freaking sick. Carbon everywhere. The scoops right here. Skirts, huge. That's ridiculous. That's not gonna fly for a street car, but it looks really cool. Front fenders, front clamshell, everything looks freaking sick. Front splitter is massive. Absolutely insane. We got no headlights yet, that's okay, but this thing looks freaking sick. This is the first time I've seen it not halfway up on the rack, so it looks really cool. This thing on the ground with wheels on it, it's gonna be insane. You ready? Let's go. Yeah, you ready?
It's done.
You even know what this car
It's
is.
ready for CMOS. Looks so freaking cool.
So right now we're strapping the dolly, which is this guy. That's our Ford GT wheel and tire suspension package right now, to the car, so that when we drag the dolly around, it doesn't slide out from under the car. So the last thing you want is to drop this thing on the ground, because that would be really, really not good, especially because the entire bottom of the car is now carbon fiber. So we don't want to damage that. So we're gonna strap it down to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, and we're gonna drag it on the trailer, get it over to TPC.
All right, well, the car is safely in the hands of the homies over at Torrey Pines Collision Center here in San Diego. We're so happy to have the car here. I've done a ton of work getting this body fitted, and it looks absolutely absurd in person. I cannot wait to see it once they get the body work all sorted out on it. So there's a lot of things to do, and I'm gonna be spending a lot of time here in the near future, in the coming weeks, helping these guys get this thing sorted out. We're in for a treat. This is gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a long haul, but we got this, baby. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Leave us some comments down below what you think of this Ford GT project, and I'm hoping that you're gonna make it out to SEMA and check it out for yourself.